Oh my goodness. Hello, everybody. Welcome. Greetings from Somerville. I keep forgetting the name of my own podcast.
Is it Greetings from
Somerville?
That's a good one.
It is a good one. I did it called Welcome to Somerville was the name of the very first comedy album I ever made. And so it's shameless working of the name.
You do comedy?
Some people say. Well, this is going to be a fun episode. We're off to a grand start.
I'm so excited. Well, I've wanted to hang out with you, and I feel like every time we hang out, we're always doing something interesting. Like, we're never doing just going to the game. Like, we're never doing typical.
That's really
things,
true, actually.
Right?
Yeah. That's that's actually a good point. It's not like, oh, we're just gonna go do this. Like, you were at one point, I was leaving Hawaii, and you were flying from New York to Hawaii for 12 hours.
Right.
You were just going. It was
take the gigs. I don't care.
12-hour flight, and then you were let's fly, do 12 hours in Hawaii and leave. No, this is great. We were both rarely in New York City at the same time.
That's true. We made it work.
Here we are in studio.
Well, I just flew in too. I literally came from JFK. I dropped my bags off at my apartment and then hopped on the train.
Where were you?
I was on a ship. I was doing the Disney Fantasy, headlined the Walt Disney Theater a couple nights ago, and then I flew back from Orlando today.
Not to name drop, but hello.
Well, Disney is a great line to work with. They're probably the best I've ever worked with.
I've heard they're amazing. I've never been on a Disney.
They only have 2 comedians that do just straight stand up.
Okay.
And they only do adult shows, from what I told. But you would definitely kill on there with the adult. It's such a great crowd, and they're great. They treat you well. Sometimes I was talking to my wife about this, because you work cruise ships too sometimes.
I've done some ships, yeah.
And some cruise lines I don't talk about, and I realize I'm embarrassed to kind of say I do it, and the only reason is, and I figured this out on the ship, is because the way they treat you isn't good. But when they treat you nice, I'm so eager to tell everyone, oh, I was just on a Disney cruise and performed on it. But you'll see in my calendar on my website, private event, and that means I'm on a cruise I don't want to talk about.
Yeah.
That means I'm on a cruise. I'm paying the bills, that's it.
Not bragging.
I'm not having fun,
I do the same exact thing.
Yeah.
A private event or corporate event.
Yep. Busy. Booked up. What is he doing for 4 days? What kind of private event is a week?
Exactly.
What?
Exactly.
What?
In the Caribbean.
Yeah.
That is don't go too hard on it. That's exactly, I know exactly what you're talking about. And I guess we should actually start by introducing you rather than just tell each other stories and have a big bro reunion here.
Yeah.
My guest today is Marcus Monroe, the fabulous Marcus Monroe. And rather than give you a title or why don't you tell our guests what you do?
Well, I'd like to do comedy and juggling together. Comedy and juggling.
So what would a business card say?
Hire me, please. No, I think it would say comedian and juggler. I like to put comedian first because I think juggler kind of turns people off. I think it really truly does.
Okay.
But until they see what I do on stage, then I think it makes sense. And comedian, I have done some straight stand up before, but I usually always juggle in my set, so I just want to
Well, and I asked you, and I sort of pimped you into it because I have called you in the past a juggler, and you've kind of been like, I'm not a juggler. That's not what I do. Please don't call me a juggler.
Yeah, I totally do juggle, and I've done shows where I don't do comedy, I just juggle, but those are shows you do to pay the rent,
Exactly.
They're not fun shows.
So now, you, how do you, tell us about juggling, man, because that is something, I think you're one of 2 jugglers that I've ever even met.
Who's the other one?
I just met him, funny enough, in Hawaii. He was doing, I don't remember his name, but he was doing some sort of the same thing. And I met him. I was like, "Do you know Marcus Monroe?" And he knows who you are, but he doesn't know. You guys don't know each other.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
I probably know who he is.
Well, there's only 2 of you.
There's not a lot of jugglers. There's not. I do a joke in my show that there's 13 of us. It's like a juggler's dozen. Just a bunch of guys. Rarely are there female jugglers. There are a few. But it's, primarily, for some reason, only guys do it a lot. But there are females who are really good. A lot better than me.
Yeah, I know a lot of guys who juggle, what is the word?
I don't know.
Not theoretically. Juggle is supposed to be a joke, which is now long since passed.
Let's break this down.
Not literally, but...
Physically? Metaphorically?
Metaphorically, yes, in life. It's a terrible joke.
Should we take that back?
I don't know how to edit.
Okay, so I started juggling when I was 9. I learned from the Klutz book. Took me 3 months.
Called the Klutz book?
Yeah, they make a series of books.
Oh, cool.
Klutz book for playing the recorder or you're doing yo-yo magic tricks.
Really?
Yeah, it's a whole series. They're
but
great
all,
books.
like something for dummies, that kind of thing, or
in a way, but it like teaches you like they're targeted to younger kids, like 6 to 13 maybe, and like they're really interesting books like face painting.
Gotcha.
But like the book always has a prop with it. Like the magic tricks book would have like a deck of cards,
Gotcha.
and the juggling book had these square bean bags. That the only place I've ever seen square bean bags are on the Klutz book for juggling. So I learned with using juggling square bean bags, and it took me a long time to learn. But once I learned, I immediately started performing at schools. I would do schools.
And why? Did you see a juggler when you were a kid and go, I want to do that?
I did.
Or?
I saw a girl. Her name was Marcy. I wonder if she was like 3 years older than me.
Okay.
In grade school.
All right.
So I must have been in like 4th grade, and she was probably like an 8th grader or like a 7th grader. and she was
older
juggling.
woman.
Yeah.
Which would be a theme.
Sure.
Which we'll get to in a bit.
Hey, I like. Yeah. Anyway. Are people still doing Borat? No, damn it. All right.
But you're also no one juggles either. So.
Right. I just saw that movie. Imagine if you had a friend who just saw it, and then
they start doing the voice.
Like, no, what are you doing? Like,
bars.
my life. Like, no, you're so. What is this? 2006? Come on.
And by the way, have you ever heard someone do it? Because once in a while I'll hear someone on the road like recently.
I love it.
Still?
Yes.
It's so because it's such a specific thing. You're like, oh, that poor guy. Is he still doing it?
I'll do it. I don't care. I always go, my life. And I know I don't sound like Borat. I know that. But in my head, I sound just like him. You know. So I would do like school shows, and then I would work my way up to do. I did some talent shows. I did some parades. And like when I was younger, this was my job. Like I was known as the juggler all around town, and I loved that title. I was like, yeah, I'm the juggler.
I'm the juggler.
And, it definitely didn't. It made me more social because people wanted to talk to me, and whenever I was never very shy, obviously, but I was very extroverted as a kid. Now I'm a little bit more introverted because I perform all the time. I feel like that's where all my energy goes.
Right.
But when I'm, but it's a great way that people want to talk to you. People want to learn how to juggle for some reason or another. And then I started working the comedy into it because I felt like I wasn't good enough just to do a technical juggling show. I wanted to add another element, and I always thought I was like funny, but I never really I didn't know how to write a joke.
Right. So you were straight up juggling for shows. You were like
but I was being silly. Like I was wearing weird clothes, and I was I was just being kind of silly with it.
Yeah.
And I didn't really have
juggling fire or anything crazy.
Oh yeah. When I was in like 6th grade, or 5th grade, I was juggling fire. And
Were you?
Yeah, my parents were like, "Go for it." They're like, "You're our retirement plan," but I wasn't. I never gave them a dime. But
how do you learn to juggle fire?
It's really not. It looks cool.
Yeah.
And people think it's super dangerous.
Right.
And there's absolutely some element of danger into it.
Right.
But when you can just get over the hump that, like, mentally that you're juggling fire, because pretty much is all it is mental.
Right.
And if you pray, just pray you don't forget how to juggle while you're doing
right.
it.
It's just juggling. It happens to be fire at the end of the stick.
Exactly. So if you can juggle clubs and you're good at that, you can light the ends on fire and just not catch the ends.
Right,
Exactly. Don't do anything stupid. Don't have long hair and a bunch of hairspray in your hair. And you'll be fine. Did
you learn that the hard way?
No, thankfully. Thankfully, I don't wear hairspray.
Okay.
No, but I've burned like the hair on my arms, my eyebrows singed.
I was gonna say, have you? Yeah.
Oh yeah. I mean, everyone who juggles fire, especially if you street perform, you do a lot of fire, like a couple times a day.
Yeah.
That you'll definitely.
Something's gonna happen.
So yeah. So when I was in high school, then I started street performing, and that was like how I made my money. It was like my only job. And I would only work maybe, like 3 weeks out of the summer because there'd only be fairs and festivals I lived in Milwaukee, so a certain amount of time of the year is summertime.
Absolutely.
But I would do like 10 shows a day for like 11 days straight. Then I'd take a break, and then there'd be another festival that would come up, and I'd do like 4 days, and I would do like 10 shows a day.
Wow.
And the reason I did so many shows is because Summerfest was the name of the festival, and people just like kept moving around. So I had a great pitch, as they call it, a great spot to perform. My show was like 20 minutes, and I would just bang them out, and I would get over $1,000 a day.
Wow.
When I was 16, 17.
Wow.
Street performing, yeah.
That's fantastic.
Yeah, I mean, right now I kind of wish I was younger because I think that helped. Like being so young and people seeing someone doing this stuff.
Yeah.
They're like, oh, I'll give him $5. I'll give him $20.
Right.
But now if I were doing it, like, this guy should probably, I don't know.
Well, you're not old.
No, I'm not old at all, but
But I know what you mean. You see that teen kid, like,
yeah, like
let's help him out.
yeah, exactly, yeah. But now that I'm,
Older.
Not older. Yeah. I'm not like gonna. I would still street perform, but like not to make money. I would do it just to be fun.
But that's that amazing, that training ground they talk about, like the Beatles and wherever it was, Liverpool, or whatever. Every night they played that club for years, and they had 5 shows a night or whatever.
I had no idea about that.
Yeah, you just pounding out the reps. Well, that whole 10,000 hours.
Yeah,
thing.
I mean, I think that's true though for what you do, because like every night you're going up, and even if you're not trying like a whole set of new jokes, I'm sure you're trying out at least a couple new jokes every night.
I actually do, as a rule, try to say at least one new thing every time I'm on stage.
That's great. I should do that too.
Yeah, I always felt like otherwise, because you get to a point when you first start, I don't know if it's the same for you, but where you're just being on stage, you need hours on stage just to get comfortable, just to get at ease, just to get out of your own way and be you. And that takes, hundreds of hours, if not more. And then from there, you say, okay, well, now I'm comfortable on stage. Well, you're just getting a check. If you're doing the same old jokes and they're going to work, then, what's the point, really? Right. You're just kind of punching in. So, yeah, I always try to say something new.
Yeah, but I think the point is, though, like, if you have an audience there and they're laughing, that's what they came to see.
Right.
Even if you're not doing anything new. Like, sometimes I'm like,
Well, and you got to do your job. If you got a big corporate gig, if you're on a cruise ship for Disney, you gotta. They're on the vacation of a lifetime. You better do a good job. Don't take out your notes and start workshopping stuff.
I did workshop.
Did you?
Yeah, this past week. Well, I'm working on a new routine that I want to kind of do. Like when like at Comedy Magic Club where you and I met. Mm-hmm. It's my favorite club, hands down, in the world.
I love it.
But I want to do a new routine. I do a plate spinning act where like I spin bowls on sticks.
Okay.
Like on a big beam and I have these high sticks and I spin these bowls. Like it's very Ed Sullivan, very Smothers Brothery. Like not a lot of people do it anymore. So I'm doing that while speed painting, like a painting upside down, just like with white paint.
Oh my goodness!
And so it's the first time I did it was a few days ago on. With this new painting I'm working on. Like, I've done the bowl spinning before.
Wow.
But I added the element of speed painting, so while I'm spinning these bowls, before they crash to the ground and shatter, I have to finish a painting.
That's amazing.
Yeah, it's pretty fun.
That would be fun to watch. Well, for our listeners, if I may describe your act, it's comedy / juggling / silliness. Like
it's random. Anything goes. It's not all just juggling.
Right.
Like, there's some weird contortions and like there's
and it's funny and things go wrong on
all
purpose and like
they do. And I think it's funny. The audience never knows if it's part of the show or if it's planned.
Exactly.
And then when something does go wrong, they don't know.
The first time I worked with you, I was like, was that on purpose?
Yeah.
And you're like, no, actually, that was I didn't mean for that to happen.
Yeah, that happens.
But I can see then going back then workshopping something like that, the plate thing. I mean, that would be fun for an audience to watch. Like, hey, I don't know how this is going to go.
And actually, so I've done it a few times before with a different painting, but this was the first time I didn't say this is a new bit I'm working on.
That's always a bold move, yeah.
That is, and I've been doing it since October, but I've only done it maybe like 4 times.
Okay.
Because it's a big prop to take. It's a big like rigging, and like the canvases are huge. They're like 4x6.
Sure.
So it's a
big deal.
It's a big deal. So I don't do it a lot.
Do you and just for our listeners, I mean that it's sometimes you couch a bit or you do the caveat with an audience like, oh well, this is new, and it's kind of it's a kind of a cheap device we sometimes use to be like, forgive me if it doesn't work.
Totally, I think that's fair, but I also think people like to see new stuff.
I think especially with you and what you're doing. If I say this is a new joke, it's like but if you're like I'm about to spin things and do things, that sounds fun to me.
Yeah, if I'm gonna do a trick with like 3 balls, I'm like, this is a new one. They wouldn't care. But if like I raise the stakes and if I'm like, okay, if this goes wrong, like there could be paint everywhere, there could be bowls on the floor, there could be like shrapnel in your face, and if you're in the front row, it could be.
And then you're like, hey, I warned you.
I warned you guys. You didn't listen to me.
You're pulling to me.
Yeah. So then just like moving on, I did move to New York.
Okay.
I signed with a manager because I hosted a show on kids programming.
Alrighty.
On like NBC Discovery Kids. It was a pilot that aired that like we thought for sure was gonna get picked up. Of course it didn't, right?
Right.
But,
entertainment.
Entertainment, right?
Sounds like the business.
So then I dropped out of school. Then went to
dropped out of
college.
College, okay.
Marymount. I went to Marymount, Manhattan.
All right.
Then I went to Hunter College, and I dropped out of that school then too.
To perform?
To perform, yeah. Then I was like, I'm just gonna juggle full
Your parents
time.
are really proud of you at that point, right? This is our retirement plan.
They knew. They knew I wasn't meant for school. Like, my dad was the principal of the high school I went to, and he was like, "There's no way, like, you're gonna
He was the
graduate."
principal?
Yeah, he would let me take his car during school and like go practice juggling, then like come. But he's strict. Like, he's not just like, yeah, do whatever you want, man. Like, he wanted me to get a good education, but
Right.
he knew I'm not, like, not
Wasn't
everyone's meant
how you're
for
wired, yeah.
being behind a desk and learning about foiling and like
Yeah.
trade.
Did you ever get sent to the principal by someone?
No, I didn't. My younger brother did.
Did he really?
Yeah, he got in trouble for doing something he shouldn't have
Go
done.
see your dad.
Yeah, well, he actually had to see the assistant principal because they didn't want my dad dealing
I
with
would
it.
think conflict of interest, yeah.
Total conflict of interest, yeah.
You can't play hooky. You can't stay home because your dad.
No. Well, we did play I did play hooky a bunch in high school. I would
Did
just
you?
write, yeah, because I think I would like write fake notes like and sign them for my mom, and because I think the attendance office thought like, there's no way he'd be this dumb. There's no way he'd do this.
That's that. He's too close to it. There's who would ever.
His dad's right here.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
like, yeah, don't worry.
Yeah.
I'm leaving.
That's amazing.
Taking 5th hour off.
Exactly.
Extended
it's
lunch.
an inside job.
Yeah, exactly. Totally. It has to be.
Now hold on, but you
one of the
said your
perks.
dad's strict, but yet he's
strict, but when it comes to
But
like,
here are the keys. Go juggle.
because he knew that was my studying. He knew that was like me learning
That's
my
really
skill,
cool
my
and
life skill.
supportive, yeah.
Oh, my dad and my mom are my number one and number two. Like, they're so supportive.
Which one's number one?
Well, no.
I'm teasing you.
I don't know. No, I think they've both done so much for my career.
Yeah.
And they're so supportive. I had a big show at Joe's Pub a few years ago. Sold out Joe's Pub. They flew in for it.
Wow.
It's great. I mean, they do.
That's a
like,
huge deal.
Yeah, they do
Yeah.
great stuff. They're really awesome.
Now, at some point, you met a woman.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, Gina.
Yes, Gina.
Okay.
It's my wife.
My wife. Your wife, Gina, and among the lovely things, she's a wonderful person.
Mm-hmm.
But
She's awesome.
But one would say older than you.
She's older. Like she is. She's amazing. She's so smart. She knows everything about everything. Like, we were walking. What were we doing? We were talking. We were walking on. She came with me on the ship. And we saw a caterpillar, and she was telling me about all the stages that a caterpillar has to go through to become a butterfly.
Nice.
And she's like not like metamorphosis, and then like this other stuff, and I was like, how do you remember? How do you retain all this information?
Yeah.
And I have no idea, but she's very smart.
And she's that smart, and
she knows
you.
I know.
She's not good at everything.
She has some flaws. I mean, it was interesting because we started emailing on Facebook.
How did you meet?
We met at a show.
Okay.
She came. I was actually a street performer. This was like 15 years ago we met.
Okay.
And I actually didn't meet her, but my younger brother did.
Oh, wow.
And then I was hanging out with one of her friends, and I didn't know they were friends. And she was like, "Oh, you should reconnect with Gina." So I'm like, "Yeah, I should." So I sent her an email, and we started corresponding through email. And this was about 9 years ago.
Okay.
Like 8.5 years. And then we were just emailing about our lives, and we weren't really thinking, because she is 15 years older than me.
Okay, 15
and so
years,
we didn't think that, we were just like being fun and friends and like pen pals.
Right.
You know, so it was cool. I would tell her about my life, she'd tell me about hers. And then I was like, hey, we should meet, because I was in New York, she was in Wisconsin.
Right.
So I came home to Wisconsin, and we met up at a bar, and we just hit it off. And then I invited her on a cruise with me for a week to come on a Royal Caribbean ship.
Sure.
And she came, and knowing her now, she would never have gone, knowing like how she doesn't.
Right.
She's just like, a week is a lot for her to commit to.
Yeah.
With someone she barely knows, and spending that amount of time in a cabin as big as a bathroom.
Yeah, absolutely.
So we just like fell in love on this week, like, and it was incredible. And so we had long distance relationship for them 3 years. I'd fly in to Wisconsin and see her, and she'd fly to New York, and we made it work for 3 years.
That's fantastic.
And then I proposed. And she has a daughter who's 5 years younger than me, so I have a stepdaughter who's like my age.
Who's your
for the
age,
most part.
basically?
And we're best friends. Like, me and her stepdaughter, like, she always says, if I die, like, be with Hannah. Like,
oh, gee.
not like be with her, but like
Like
just
Woody
like stay in
Allen,
her life. Yeah, like just like, I know what she means. And her daughter's getting married, so it's not like I have a chance there, and that would be so weird. But she just means like be in her life, like be like
of course.
be around.
Don't just disappear.
Yeah, because we're like Hannah and I are like best friends. We're really close.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. It is wonderful, and it's unique, and I mean, a couple of things I'd say. One is if you really want to get to know someone, go take a week cruise with them. And your relationship's either going to blossom or die, because it is a petri dish, like a microwave relationship where you're like, here we go.
Yeah, she would leave the cabin periodically. I'm like, where is she going? Then I realized she was probably pooping, because like I would just poop like in the cabin.
Jeez.
And I didn't care, you know. I was like, "This is what everyone has to do this."
Yeah. She's like, "I'm gonna go check something at the front desk."
I'm like, "All right, take
That's
your time."
I never even thought of that. That is among the situations you have to deal with in a cabin.
Easy.
No. Well, now tell me then, what is it like then? I mean, 15 years. It's not a huge. It's not 30 years. It's not a gigantic difference, but it's certainly in this day and age, especially when people, life moves quickly and technology and all that stuff. I mean, you're definitely in a different phase than she is. What's that
totally.
like?
Well, thankfully, she is it's hard to say. She's very with it. Like her daughter and her are very close.
Yeah.
And so she, she's like, she's on Instagram. Like she's not like some like crazy old person. Like she's still like people who don't know how old she is think she's just my age.
Oh wow! Okay.
Yeah, because they don't. She looks.
Right. She looks amazing.
She looks fantastic.
She's beautiful.
Yeah. She's so fun. I mean, like, we for some reason it works really well.
Right.
And so when she lived in Wisconsin, she had like a nice job. She had like a Lexus and a nice car.
Hello.
Right. But
Sugar mama.
Then she moved to right. Yeah, absolutely. Right. But then she moved to New York with me, and we got like this. Well, now we live in like this 1-bedroom apartment in Harlem.
Okay.
It's like a lot smaller than what she's used to. No car anymore, you know. Like, and we work together. So it's like we kind of have like a family business in a way.
What does she do for your?
Well, she books my shows. So when I do colleges, she books it. She organizes all our travel. She manages it. When I went to Edinburgh, she company managed the whole tour.
Right.
So that was like 27 shows, and she was at every one.
That's a big deal.
Yeah. So she has all these like really good.
And that's hugely helpful. My goodness.
Oh my gosh! Are you kidding me? Well, we'd have to hire someone.
Myself,
yeah. I mean, yeah, of course.
Yeah. It's a big deal.
Yeah, totally. And then I don't have to be the bad guy if I, if I don't like a deal.
Yep.
Like, I don't want to do this for that.
Is she your manager, your agent, or just sort of your...
She plays a couple. She wears a lot of different hats. Like right now, I have a manager and I have an agent. So right now, she's kind of, whenever we have long like a college tour or something, she'll help tour manage that. That. Because my show has a lot of different moving parts.
Sure.
And she'll come with me. She helps develop new material. Like we're just like she does everything.
What a wonderful thing, and what a great thing to sort of keep your feet to the fire, because we can get lazy as performers.
Absolutely.
And, all of a sudden,
But now it's not just me depending on me getting like the next gig. It's her, like her.
Sure.
She depends on that too now. So like if I don't have a lot of gigs coming up, I'm like, hey baby, maybe you should start.
While you watching that Seinfeld
why don't you Google colleges in the Northeast?
Well, on that note, are there points of contention? Are there problems? Because I would think professionally and personally, in a relationship you have personal problems, but now you have professional potential.
I mean, I wouldn't say we have problems. Just like any couple, we fight and we bicker and. But like we're the couple people we'd be like F you, and she'll be like F you, and then like 2 minutes later I'm sorry baby, I'm sorry, I didn't mean that. I'm just like when you travel with someone, you work with someone, you live with someone, of course like there's gonna be parts of stress, but never have I ever gotten bored of her or like wanted her to leave or like go into the other room. I think she's awesome and she's so fun.
You guys, one of the sweetest things I saw is you were kind enough to take me to Jerry Lewis
his birthday party.
Birthday party. I don't know what we were at. It was a fun fundraiser evening, and we went beforehand. Went to a bar for a drink before it was starting, and I never forget. You got there and you took out your phone and you texted her just to let her know you were there. And
I'm here safe.
Yeah, and you said hi, and I was you just left her. She was just up at your place, and and I just thought that was. I remember that. I was like, that's the sweetest thing.
I think check-ins are always good, and we trust each other, but it's always good to know that you're thinking of the other, thinking of each other.
What I liked, That's probably why I'm single.
No.
Don't check in.
No. Yeah. So it's a good relationship,
It
and
is nice. Are there any cultural differences? Or like
totally.
I dated a woman who was younger than me by actually coincidentally enough by about 15 years, and she just didn't know. Like there was a Seinfeld on. I'm like, I love this episode. She's like, this show was sort of before my time.
What?
And I was like, what?
Oh my God.
And then I did the math. I'm like, oh yeah, she was born when it was.
Wow,
like,
that's interesting.
Yeah, but is there anything like that? Is there music?
Oh yeah, there's.
Things,
oh my God, our music taste could not be any different.
Yeah.
Any different. There's some bands we agree upon, but a lot of it, like she grew up on like Fleetwood Mac.
Oh sure.
And she likes Lana Del Rey. Who else? I mean, I don't even she's a child of the '80s. Like she loves '80s music, and I like '80s music too. But like I'm more.
Does she like U2?
I don't know if she. I don't think she likes U2.
Tom Petty.
Tom Petty. She loves Tom Petty.
All right,
yeah. She loves Tom Petty.
Yeah.
And I like it, but like I have weird music taste to begin with. Like I like pop punk music,
right?
And like weird, weird like poppy.
So it doesn't
stuff.
matter who you're dating. That's gonna it's an acquired.
But for her, it's even worse because she's like, why can't you just like normal stuff? And she'll go to the concerts with me and she'll have a great time.
Does she? She'll come there with like some quirky thing that you like.
Oh yeah, we've done weird stuff. She likes it.
Awesome.
Yeah, I take her out of her comfort zone, and I think like she likes it. I think.
That's really
At least that's what I'm telling myself. She liked it.
I think so.
She liked it.
Yeah,
I don't know.
She keeps coming. So
yeah, true.
How long you been married?
5 years. It'll be 5 years in August. So we're going on 5 years, but together for 8.
Together for 8.
Yeah.
See? No, I'm excited for you guys.
Thanks, man.
Yeah.
And she loves you. She thinks you're hilarious.
Well, no wonder I like her.
Yeah. Totally.
At some point, not long ago, you said, I'm doing straight stand-up comedy.
Yeah, I just wanted to do stand-up without any props.
Yeah.
And I have like a few really good jokes that I really like.
You're very funny.
Thank you. Thank you. But like it's hard. It's so hard for me to write. Like I know the process. I know you just gotta sit down. Or I know everyone does it differently, but for me, like it works best when I sit down and I write like 2 columns of things and try to connect them. You know, like that formula. It's so tough, and so I have. Yeah, I just got to get up and do it more.
Yeah.
But I have some. I think I sent you a video of my set.
That's what I'm getting at. You took a class, right?
I did.
Okay. Well, no,
with my younger brother.
Did you really?
Yeah, and he's hilarious. He's getting up at Gotham. Like he's somehow
is
booking.
he? Awesome.
He's booking shows. I'm like, wait, how are you doing this? And
I love
he's
it.
getting like $50 a spot. I'm like, oh man.
He's not working with your wife, is he? She's like,
no, yeah.
like, hey, what the heck?
Hey, Lucas, come in here, man. Yeah. He's really funny. We have different styles of stand-up like when we get on stage, but he's good. He's really good.
Sent me, so you took a class, and we talked. You said, would you mind? I said, absolutely. My favorite thing is to look at other stand-ups.
Is it?
Oh my gosh, that's my favorite. Anyone who's starting it, because it's not your stuff. You know, it's so hard to look at your own stuff, figure it out. Stand-up's not easy to write.
Right.
Stand-up's not easy to do.
Right.
But it's so much fun for me to, look at someone else's work and go, here's what I see, here's what I think. And you actually realize how much that you know. Like, you don't realize how much you've learned until you're talking to someone else going, I kind of know what I'm talking about here. This is cool.
Yeah.
But you sent me, at first it was your script. It was just your text written down, and it was really good. Like,
thank you.
Really, really, really funny.
Thanks.
And well, you're welcome, and it was a relief for me because I have to tell you, every time someone asks me for help, I always, yes, absolutely, people that help me coming up, I'm always happy to take time, look at stuff, and try to give back in what little way I can. But it was such a relief for me because I like you so much personally. I was like, oh, thank God he's funny. Like, this is I didn't know what to expect.
Yeah, put you in a bad spot.
Yeah,
it was terrible. I'm glad you liked it. Of course, it's still a work in progress, and I think like as a comedian, you're always kind of trying to find even if you get a laugh from a joke, you're still trying to figure out if you can get a bigger laugh or a tag for a joke or something.
Of course.
So
I can tell you that goes away. You eventually, over time, you go, you know what, that one's done.
Well,
I don't care.
I've been doing routines that I talk a lot for, maybe the same type of routine, a version of routine for like 7 years, 10 years, maybe it's 10, yeah. And I always like the inflections on words always change. And
It's
like, especially like this past week when I did it, I was like, oh, I've never said it like this. They're the exact same words.
Absolutely.
Just the affliction's on a different word,
Right.
or the I don't know if affliction is the right word. Afflection, is that it?
Inflection.
Inflection.
Yeah, I think
I put
inflection.
the emphasis
Yes.
on a different word.
I couldn't even come up with literal and figurative. That was the thing.
Oh, figuratively juggling.
Yes, men who are figuratively. It was my old joke from about 25 minutes ago. But that is a fun thing. You're right, and I know when I leave a joke alone for a while, if I don't do it or hadn't done it or something, I will. It's fun to tell again. Like rather than like it's.
Do you forget about jokes you've had?
Absolutely.
'Cause I forgot about a few jokes I had. I said but do you want to hear the joke?
Yeah, of course.
I think the Gateway Arch in St. Louis is the most appropriately named monument because after I visited the Gateway Arch, that's when I started experimenting with harder and more dangerous arches.
That's a perfect you joke too. That is a Marcus Monroe.
It's so dumb, but once you see it performed, and then like you have to like, I know when people are like, "Hey, you want to hear my joke?" It's awkward
the
for
worst
you.
thing ever.
It is the worst, and I'm sorry I put you in that position just now.
No, you.
But it was a joke I forgot, and then I remembered it like a few days ago. I was like, oh, I'm gonna do that tonight, and I did it, and it worked. I did it last night, and it worked really well.
It's a great joke, and no, it's audience members who try to tell you jokes. That's always after
Especially
the show.
Street jokes.
Oh, it's the worst, and that's all it is. And then 10 or 15% of the time, it's like racist or something. You're like, oh, please, for the love of mercy, just buy my CD or leave. Like,
right? Yeah, I know. They think they're funny. I think a lot of people think you just find other jokes and then use them in your act.
Isn't that amazing?
I'm like, what?
Yeah, people think you just exactly.
Or they'll tell me a joke, and go, you can use that. I'm like, well, did you write that? They're like, no, someone told. I'm like, no, I'm not going to do that.
No. And why would I use it from you anyway?
Right.
Or my other favorite is after, like, if there's two shows, there's like a 7 and a 9. They'll leave the 7 and go, what are you going to talk about next show? Like it was supposed to be a whole new hour that I just came up with on stage.
Or if you're on a cruise and the cruise director goes, all right, if you liked Marcus Monroe, he's got another show at 9 o'clock.
Yeah.
I'm like, no, I just did the same show.
Same show.
Don't do that.
Don't tell. Yes, exactly.
Don't do that.
Exactly. No, it's the same show.
Oh,
it's
gosh.
very frustrating.
That's so.
But I saw your tape. I saw your final product because your graduation, if you will, from class. You sent me the link, and not only was it great, and not only was it funny, and you got laughs, but you took some of my notes, which really made me happy.
Of course. You're so great. I will I even told like Michael Somerville is who I want to because they're joke after joke after joke after joke.
Yeah.
And they're not one-liners, but they're like set-up punch, right? Like
set up punch.
They're not like no, I wouldn't say they're one-liners. I would say that you just have like
they're tight.
They're tight.
Yeah.
You edit all the words out you don't need. And then you put it together.
It's funny you say that because exactly. I always I'll tell you why. A couple things. When I was first starting comedy, I was doing a college up in Erie, Pennsylvania, performing, and there was a club there, Junior's Last Laugh, and I went down to see the show that night. I was done with my show. It was an early college show, like 7 or 8 o'clock. I was done, and went down to see the late show at the comedy club. And there was this guy. I never remember his name. He was a big old cowboy comedian from like Texas. And he was just up there just firing joke after joke after joke. And growing up, I loved Rodney Dangerfield, who was also joke after joke. And I remember watching going, well, the point is to make the audience laugh. Then why not make them laugh as often as you can?
Right.
That seems to be the logical thing.
Yeah.
And then I was watching comedians in cars getting coffee, the Jerry Seinfeld show online, and he had this episode with Jim Gaffigan, and they touched upon the same thing. They're like, I take out all the fat, take out all the air, like do the joke. How few words can you use to get to the joke? So I'm flattered that you noticed that because
of course.
Yeah, because it's not like I'm doing like joke book or street stuff. But it's like we'll take out those 9 sentences you don't need and get to the essence of it.
Yeah.
And yours was, you're for a guy who did you're used to being on stage, and so it wasn't like a first show ever for you.
I sent you like a minute. I didn't send you the whole clip, did I?
I thought I watched the whole show.
Was it the whole
did
5
I not?
minutes? I don't know.
I'm pretty sure I did.
Okay.
I think so.
It's possible.
Well, I thought the whole thing, whatever you sent me, I thought was great. Is there 4 minutes that sucked?
No. Well, I know on
you just sent me the one good minute?
I know on Instagram I can only put up a minute.
Oh.
So I'm not sure if you just saw the Instagram clip and not the other 4 minutes.
Maybe I did see. Well, whatever I saw was great.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I did 2 jokes that I've had like for years that I knew would do well.
Okay.
And then the others were just ones that I wrote. But those were just one-liners that I knew I would like filler just to like It's like my safety net. You know?
Absolutely. I know it's an important thing.
Yeah.
I've been doing this new joke night here at the Comedy Cellar. They do like a new joke show where these pros get up, and it's like an open mic for pros, which is really a ton of fun. And that was I quickly learned, like, oh no, throw one or two in there, so you know that you've got a life.
Still got a job here. I can still come back.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, listen, we want to know. It's been a pleasure sitting with you, and I love the fact that just getting to see you.
Yeah,
tonight
of course,
I'll be
man.
at the Comedy Cellar, and you actually are going to a show there as well.
I'll be there.
This is like the fraternity. I love it. Tell us what's next. Where's it all going? What do you want? If sky was the limit, if money were no object, if you could do anything in the world moving forward from this point, anything goes. What would Marcus Monroe do?
Honestly, I just love to perform, and I would just love to perform whenever I want. Like, every night would be great, but...
So if you had $100 million, you'd still perform?
Oh, absolutely. You would too.
Not in a million years. You would never see me again.
Are you serious?
Are you kidding me?
Lies. I think
Seinfeld was like
you would
that.
miss it.
Seinfeld always says, it wasn't about the money, and then he still does. He's got all the money in the world.
For you, it's about the money?
Oh, you give me $15 million. I'll be at the Jersey Shore.
All right.
I'll find a nice girl, have a baby.
I don't know if the Jersey Shore is the right place to find a girl that you want to be with.
The best of the bet. What more do you want?
I don't know.
A nice waitress.
Yeah. Maybe like Nantucket or like Cape Cod. I remember the Jersey. Have you been with a Jersey girl? I was with a Jersey girl.
I grew up in Jersey. I grew up going to the Jersey
What are you
Shore.
thinking? How has it worked for you in the
all
past?
I want is a nice Jersey girl.
All right. I apologize to any Jersey girls I may have offended, but I have not met you.
Oh, some nice high hair. Oh, sign me up.
Some stilettos.
We meet at the Applebee's.
Chewing some gum. Oh, yeah. At the Applebee's. I like Applebee's. I'll give you that.
Happy hours. 4 to 6 and 10 p.m.
Get
till
some
close.
$1 Long Islands. Get tanked.
You're talking my language.
Get smashed.
Marcus Monroe, thank you so much for stopping by. This has been Greetings from Somerville. You please like us, review us, rate us on iTunes. It really does help a lot, and you guys have been listening, and I really appreciate it. We were just listed along with Bill Burr and some of the big podcasts up there. We're associated or in the same kind of company, which is really flattering. So thank you guys. You can listen to my comedy albums on Pandora, Spotify, SiriusXM, and we'll talk to you next time.